Hello, and welcome to the Growth Almanac, the podcast where we explore leadership, growth, and the moments that shape us into who we become. I'm Ruby, and today we're going to talk about friendships.
Hey everyone, I'm Shrestha. So, Ruby, I think friendships, this is something that has affected each and every one of us, and I'm very sure it's a significant effect, be it good friendships, bad friendships, even the awkward ones. So, you have always, spoken about what a significant impact friendships have had on your life. So, why don't you start?
Sure. I will actually talk about um, an important lesson I learned a very long time ago back when I joined my engineering college the very first year. In those days, it was just like we were 10 girls and there were 400 guys in our batch of engineering at the time. So I was a strong believer of everyone together, forcing connections, keeping all the girls and even the guys, like, everyone together. And as I was doing this, I realized I was the one who was being left out from different groups.
Okay.
I was being cut out. And then I went and spoke to this particular, she's my best friend. So I was talking to her and she goes, Ruby, everyone cannot be your friend. Not everyone is your friend. You have to pick and choose the people who are your friends. Then you have your extended circle, and then you have your acquaintances. And that sort of stuck with me, right? And in the beginning, I was like, hey, there's only 10 of us. We all need to be together. I was trying to force people who had very different goals, very different ideas, and very different personalities, and I was trying to bring them together. So that was one of the very early lessons that I learned in my career, and I think it has stayed with me. That doesn't mean you don't reach out and build a relationship with people. It's just who is truly your friend. And you know what? That applies at work too. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, no. So I've had very good friends in my engineering. I've made like the best of friends, right? So when I started getting into my workplace, I was very clear. I'm like, I'm here to work, not to make friends. And honestly, in my first company, it was a campus placement, so I had some group of people that came with me. So it was easy friendship. But when I jumped my company, I was very clear. I'm like, I am going to be very professional. I'm not here to make friends. They're my colleagues, and that's it. Um but I think that's one thing about friendship. You cannot decide when and where you're going to make the bond. Just starts, and over time, there are some people who uplift you and be that strong support that you really need. And although I did not go looking to make friends at workplace, I think right now some of very good friends that I have are from that. You included, Ruby. I never intended to be your friend, but that just happened.
Yeah, I think it's a very natural progression as we grow. For me, for example, I'm very happy and satisfied with my friend circle, whether it is from school times or college times or even the various jobs that I have had, right? But I've recently added two friends to my close circle of friends, and that's just because we connected.
Mm.
We may have known each other for 10 years, but then she and I traveled for a conference 3 years ago, and we just decided to be, on a panel together, right? So we were traveling, and then we started talking, and we're like kindred spirits. We're like finishing each other's sentences, and behind all those conversations, it's the connection that we built that made me feel like your friendships grow. Some you grow out of, some you maintain, and then you make new friends, and it's a blessing.
I completely agree. I think without my friendships, I wouldn't be where I am right now. what do you think is the difference between the friendships that we make as children versus when we are adults?
I will say that my best friendships came out of my college life.
Mm-hmm.
And a large part of it was we were all so unpolished, unfiltered. We went through our ups and downs and know each other for who we are.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't any competition, there
Mm.
isn't any comparison. This weekend, a friend of mine sent a note to us saying, "Hey, my daughter got this job." We were all so happy and celebrating as if it's my own daughter, right? So that is what I feel is that is a friendship that I really cherish. Okay. Over the years, I think at some point between your 20s and your 30s, we're all busy with our lives, growing our family, building our lives together. It's fun, but it's not the same kind of fun. Is It's different.
Yep. No, I understand what you're saying, because when we are children, it's more about fun, and it's like you're in the same setting, so you think there's also peer pressure, right? Like you want to be someone's friend. It might be superficial, versus when you're adults, you go through life together. And also you start setting boundaries. You start prioritizing your peace of mind, so you don't let everybody in. You're very selective of who you're going to form that connection and invest in that friendship. I totally resonate with what you're saying, that you know in fact my friends from engineering, we are family. I don't consider them as friends, right? So my friend circle that I have from engineering, they are with me for the past 14 years, and they've been there for me during my tough times. And when there is something that I have to celebrate, they are the ones I go to, and we celebrate each other's accomplishments, and we treat each other as family. I think even when I got married, I was upset when my friends weren't attending versus a lot of my family members. So that's how important they are in my life, and I'm sure so is the case with a lot of us. So they, even before I met my spouse, they have been there with me. And I think they created this foundation as to what is required from all the other friendships that I'm going for, because they've set the bar so high.
I really like what you just said. It's so deep.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is the quality of friends that we have in our lives. So anybody who is not going to match that, we're not even going to take that in.
You mentioned about for your marriage when some of your friends couldn't make it, but there was a lot of family that was there. This was a dilemma last year. My niece and nephew were getting married. So now we are here in the US
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of our family is back in India.
Mm-hmm.
So they had this dilemma whether they should get married over here in the
Uh,
US or go back and, get married in India. My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, for them, the entire family is in India. So the people they want to invite is all back in India,
right.
mostly.
Yeah.
And then the people that the friends want to invite are all over here. And then I think this is a generational change where the kids said, but this is our wedding. So
Hi.
we want to have
Yeah.
people that we connect with and we've grown up with. And there was no argument against that. So we ended up having like the wedding over here and then a big extended party and get togethers in India. We ended up having both. I really liked that, they actually spoke up and they said, no, we want to have the wedding over
Yeah.
here.
I think we start questioning things, and we, like, it's about who is actually making that impact in your life. Before, in our parents generation, that was family. And I think the reason was also because the technology wasn't there for us to keep in touch with
It's
friends.
about information, right?
Right.
I mean, I remember that when I completed my engineering, when we were about to part ways, we were all howling, like hugging each other and howling. At that time, there was no social media,
Right.
and we had those AOL dial-up connection
Correct.
days, and
Yeah.
we were like, we're never gonna see each other again. Like that's how we left college. And today, that same friend group, we have at least an annual get together.
Exactly. And you know, I know friendships fade sometimes, but I think for us right now, given how social media has helped us, it has just um, helped us stay in touch with the people who truly are
Mhm.
important, and we can show up for them too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Showing up, very simple concept, but showing up for our friends, extremely important. I want to ask you this. Friendship with your spouse, highly
Mhm.
glorified. What are
Mhm.
your thoughts?
I am a big believer in that, Ruby, because uh, I was petrified when I was even thinking about getting married, right? I was like, how do I commit? That commitment is a big thing, it's for life. So one thing that I reminded myself is my friendship that I have with all the other amazing
Mhm.
girls in my life. And I'm like, I've had such great connections and long friendships. It's the same thing that I'm looking for in another person. And I made that a priority. I made sure when I found my now husband that I spent enough time to make sure that he is my friend. And that has worked out so well. I cannot, that's something that I tell everyone. I'm like, if you're looking for a partner, look for a friend first. How about you?
I completely agree. So when my nieces and nephews, when they're looking for a partner, there's a few things we talk about. In our generation, it was more about are they settled? What kind of financial stability is there? Now, of course, I mean, the person should be educated, whatever your
Yes.
baseline non
Yeah.
negotiables are.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, can you sit with this person and have a conversation and have fun?
Yeah.
If you pass that, then you can move forward. That's all that matters. For me, also, my husband and I are very good friends, right? And I've also found that a large part of it is we can sit together in the same room silently and enjoy each other's company without having the need to do something special for each other. I think when you get to a point where you're having a conversation, whether you're just watching something on TV, whether you're just reading your book together, as long as you enjoy each other's company, I just love it. And so I've been very fortunate.
I don't know if you've noticed this or you've experienced this, Ruby, but uh, amongst the friends that I have, sometimes each person brings out a different version of me or different topics that I talk to each one of them. And it's not like one is better than the other, it's just different flavors of myself that comes out with different people. Have you noticed this in your friendships?
You're right. I think it is because everyone is an individual,
Hmm?
right?
Hmm?
So as you are building relationships or talking to this person, they are bringing the side of you
Mm.
that you did not know existed,
Exists. Yeah, yeah. And
right?
also, I think there are different aspects or different interests in you that you connect on. Because, like you said, as an individual, we have so many things that we are interested in or we keep doing. There's a friend that I share my pet love with. There's another friend that I love, I share my love for technology or my goals and ambitions,
I
right?
have a separate group of friends we are big national park enthusiasts.
Okay.
So I have a set of friends that is just, hey, we're going here. How about you? Or give us some tips,
Right.
etc. So you're absolutely right. there's a set of friends that I have. We just talk cooking sometimes, like recipes
Yeah.
and cooking, because we all love that. Because human beings are complex people. There's so many facets of our
Yeah.
personality, and it gels with different set of people in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll ask you this. So one thing that I've realized over time is I have a set of friends. It's a very small group that I can share anything. And when I say anything, it's my deepest insecurities. I can talk about my husband. I can talk about my dad. I can talk about my children. Not just the good parts, not the parts we publish on social media, but also the parts we struggle with, right? And not be judged, not just not be judged for myself, but also they are not judging the person about whom I said I don't like XYZ. And this isn't a very long phenomena. In the last 4 to 5 years, we've opened up a lot beyond the fun and sharing all the goodness about ourselves. And I think it happened like I was going through some tough times within the family, my husband and I, and we were sharing with each other, right? So it wasn't that we weren't talking about the topic with each other. And I realized that if we kept talking about it, instead of lifting each other up, we were bringing each other down because of the sadness and the depression that we were going through. So we needed to put a brave face in front of each other, my husband and I, and we were lifting each other. But then, whatever was being built inside me, I did need to talk about it with someone. And so I called up this friend and I started talking to her, and my tears came, and we talked through it, and that's when my healing started.
Yeah, I call these friends our midnight friends, right?
Yes,
Any point of time you give them a call, they're there for you. And also that, that's the reason I feel like friends are sometimes free therapists. I
they are.
don't want to
They
exploit that.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
but they are.
yeah.
There are certain, because you sometimes you need that outside opinion, like you said, when you're going through something, it's just too much for you to handle, and when you talk to somebody else, that also some a friend especially, they know exactly what to say, how to be there with for you, and that just helps you heal.
Oh, absolutely. The healing is one part. There's the other part of it. You are starting on a new journey. Like even, when I started, recording the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I was skeptical in sending it to anyone. I still am. I'm still tiptoeing in, right? But these couple of friends, I just sent it to them, and they're like, "Why are you worried? You're a natural at it." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're my friend. You're saying that because you're my friend."
No, but
Anyways.
that is very true. Even a few years ago, when I showed interest in makeup, uh, some of my friends truly pushed me to go get yourself certified. You are so good at it, and I'm so glad they were there to hype me up. And honestly, I've been very fortunate that my sister is one of my best friends, and throughout my life she has uplifted me for almost everything. I don't like I see her as my best friend more than my sister, and I'm so fortunate to have somebody like that in my life.
Oh, that is so nice. I actually have a different story about my sister. So my
Mm-hmm.
sister and I, we were always close and
Mm-hmm.
good friends. But there was something that kept us apart as well. It could be that we are very different
Mm-hmm.
personalities. I'm more in the corporate world, she's more a homebody. A few years ago, I had gone back to India, and as a family, we went traveling. And one night, she and I, we sat in the garden and we started talking, and there were a few things that she had said or done that had impacted me, and I had said and done that had impacted her. And so we just started talking. 2 hours later, we were like, we're so dumb. Why did we lose so many years? Today, we're like this. I think it was that last string that had to be joined for us to get to that position. So,
That
yeah.
is so sweet. And I think with friendships, you there is no ego and pride. You have to set that aside. If that's a friendship, in case a friendship goes sour, if it is mendable, I think you cannot keep your egos and pride. I know I have done that. I know some of my friends have reached out, and that's that initiative that they take to even fix that relationship is everything.
I think you have to be intentional even in your friendship,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my children, they are now in college, and that stage in life where you make friends who are probably your best friends in
Right,
life,
right.
right? So my daughter, for example, she's joining a couple of these clubs,
Mm-hmm.
and she has some very good friends from her high school, but then she's joined this club where none of her existing friends are in, because she wants to expand. And she's like, I'm always with them and I'm not reaching out and making new
Right.
friends. So she went and joined this club, and they went on camping recently. She came back with such wonderful memories
That's
and such beautiful stories. I was very happy for her. I was
ah.
proud of her. A few years ago, I started going into work every day. I'm an introvert. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like, I'm very conscious of going and introducing myself to someone. And something flipped in my head one day. And when I go into work, I would walk on the floor, find somebody, and go introduce myself. Hello, I'm so and so. And I started building that relationship. Did all of them convert into my friends? The answer is no, but I made a lot more connection and a lot more acquaintances as part of that initiative I took. Same thing when I'm on a walk, or I'm sitting next to the lake, and if there's kids playing or pets playing, I've made some friendships from those interactions. At one point, I was very satisfied. I don't need new friends.
I think
Now I open myself up more.
I don't know if you've read this book by, I think it's Brené Brown.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about vulnerability, right? Her book, I think it is Daring Greatly, but she talks about how friendship, the best of your connections, best of your friendships are formed when you're vulnerable. You have to put yourself out there. And when I think back at all my friendships, that is the reason I have such strong connections with all of my friends, because you're willing to be vulnerable with them. And what you just spoke about, even you got over your introverted self, put on a brave face, and went ahead and introduced yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when we talked about uh, the difference between having friends at an early age versus when you are when you are an adult, I think a large part of it is you are still building your personality, your thoughts, and you are more vulnerable at that age just as a human being,
That's
versus when you are an adult and you've got fixed and formed ideas of who you are or who you want to become, or who you have already
yeah,
become. And
yeah.
that's why sometimes they say marrying young, you actually adjust better.
No, that is very true. Like, because I think I read somewhere that your brain isn't completely formed until 25. You're still forming your personality and everything. So it's easier for you to make friends before that versus after. In fact, when I moved to the US 2 years ago, I felt the first reaction was I was very grateful to be with my husband and my sister, who I'm very close to, but not having friends here was affecting me so much. I was constantly looking out for friends, but I didn't want to because I have such good circle. I did not ever feel the need to actually make friends. But 2 years down the line now, I put in some effort and I can tell that I've made some really good friends. I know they're not as strong as some of the other friendships I've had, but that also took a long time to make to be where they are right now. So,
Yeah, and it over time, your relationships change, right? I mean, the same friends, I think as we mature, so there is this one friend, she and I, we would always butt our heads on. I don't think we both liked each other as much. And then recently, 5, 6 years ago, we started meeting again. And I think we have both matured. The the aspects of her personality that used to irritate me, I admire them now. And I think that is just you maturing over time.
so in friendships, though, Ruby, do you think it's always 50-50 in the sense of putting in the effort?
No, no, I don't even think there's a scale there.
Mm-hmm.
You really, it's just the connection. Sometimes you're pulling the weight, sometimes the other person is pulling the weight. It may be that you're pulling the weight forever. Even that is a possibility. Um, the real test of a true friend is, do you trust each other? Do you, um, are you there for each other? You may not have spoken to each other for 10 years, and then you meet somewhere or you talk, and can you pick up where you left without having to build up for those 10 years? So, no, there is no scale. How has social media, what do you think? How has social media changed how friendships are made and maintained today?
So for me, I feel like social media has helped with my friendships. We send each other memes sometimes. I think that's one of the forms of communication we constantly keep, because that it doesn't always have to be a check-in that, hey, how are you? How's it going? Sometimes it's just that I saw something funny and I'm thinking of you, right? So you're the first person that came to my mind, so I'm sending that. So I feel like a lot of my friends, I've been able to stay in touch because either they send me something or I shared something with them. And for all the engineering friends that I spoke about, most of our bachelorettes, our baby showers have been done online.
Yeah.
We are there all over the world, but we agreed on this one time, one day, where we are going to surprise that person with some online virtual party. And I'm so grateful to be able to do that, because that way I'm able to be there for that person's good times, or even bad times for that matter. So I'm extremely grateful for social media.
It is so interesting, Shrestha. You were talking about marriages and baby showers. We didn't have our friends around in those days.
Mhm,
We really didn't have the ability to uh, travel or go to each other's baby showers or be around.
mhm.
We've started doing this as we all turned 50.
Okay.
We got together and we celebrated each and every friend's birthday together.
Oh,
So we traveled all around the globe, and that those 2 to 3 years when each one of us was hitting our milestone birthday, we would all travel and celebrate with each other. So it doesn't matter at what stage in your life you are. It's about thinking about each other, uplifting each other, and being there and having fun.
completely agree. And for social media, I think there is a negative side of it, for especially I've seen maybe our generation, where we're looking for different things while making friendships. It's very friendships are made for a reason and not just to make some connection sometimes. What are your thoughts about that?
I think social media is great.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that social media has taken us forward in being able to have connections, in being able to maintain our friendships. In fact, some of the studies show that um, 25% of the friendships that are being formed today is first through social media and then being extended over time.
Okay,
So,
that's
yeah, I'm a big fan, but I will tell you about a story that is the next extreme of social media. 3 weeks ago, I went to ChatGPT one morning. I woke up, couldn't sleep, 3 a.m., and I had nothing better to do. So I said, talk to me.
nice.
So ChatGPT comes back. Are you in a mood for casual conversation, or do you want to talk about XYZ? And I said casual conversation. And so then ChatGPT and I talked about how I like to have soup and Chinese food and it was a very deep conversation. Did I make friends with ChatGPT? No.
Oh, this is very interesting. Um, so one more thing that I always think about, Ruby, is how friendships sometimes friendship breakups are worse than real breakups. Have you had that? Have you had to go through some of those?
I have fortunately not had to I haven't had friendship breakups.
Mhm. Okay.
No, it could be because I am very open
Hmm.
to, I'm very accepting in terms of friendship. So if a person has a certain idiosyncrasy, it doesn't bother me as much. Having said that, I have seen very strong breakups, if you may, sometimes as bad as romantic breakups, is what I would say.
That
Right?
is, I've had a friendship breakup. In fact, with my best friend, I've gone through that. Fortunately, we were able to sort that out, and I'm so, so, so glad that we did. But when during that period, it was one of the worst emotional times that I had to go through.
I think it is a matter of how clear you are in your head of what you want out of life and whether the friend that you are talking about, whether that person is helping you grow or whether you are being pulled back. My
Mm.
daughter had a friendship breakup in high school, and I've seen her go through it. Like these were friends of 7, 8 years, very crucial growing up years, and then finally they separated, is what I would say. And those were very tough times for her.
Yeah,
So now us parents, we sometimes say hello of those girls because we're still connected.
yeah.
But the maturity there is that the girls are like, that's your friendship. And I'm like, yeah, we don't talk about you
That's
guys. We just talk about ourselves.
yeah. No, that's true too.
So I think, Shrestha, this is a topic that is a very simple topic, but also a very deep topic. It depends on how much weightage we give to our friendships. So I'd like to leave our listeners with a couple of advice or direction. Reach out to a friend today, one you haven't spoken to for a very long time. Maybe send a message and try to connect, or just reflect on your friendships that you have today. Identify, see what kind of impact it has made on you. I think that will help you grow. So, yeah, think about a friend. Think about a friend that you haven't connected in a very long time.
Yep. And if you've learned something or enjoyed this conversation, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you.